A new wizard has just born in Manchester.
He's a special player. He's a special player.
Because he's delivering in both aspects, joy and statistical output.
The genius is here. The super talent, the mercurial talent is here.
And Premier League defenders do not want to play against him on the field.
Rayan Cherki! He has signed for Manchester City. It's a £34 million deal.
£34 million. Too cheap for a player who can change an entire game and make opponents wish they had him.
Rayan Cherki! You are going to be one of those players that we will always talk about.
He's a game changer right now. He's a real game changer for City.
Since his arrival, he shows the difference. He's not playing only for the win. He's playing to create magic and entertain.
The way he passes that ball is just, there's not many players in the world that can find that pass.
Cherki's just done a Rabona cross with the outside of his...
Cherki is a talent variation with infinite creativity. He turns Manchester City's deadlock into different explosive moments.
A mix between Lionel Messi, Iniesta, Guti, something really special.
Brilliantly put away by Cherki. A magnificent strike.
With his masterclass performances, City fans are starting to call him a new Kevin De Bruyne, but only more lethal. Modern yet also very classic, Cherki is the embodiment of artistic football, a perfect blend of the improvisational flair of players like Neymar and Ronaldinho with the demanding standards of modern elite football.
There's just something so joyful about watching a player like Cherki.
He uses the joy of performing for the crowd to spread fear across the entire Premier League. At the academy of Olympique Lyonnais, Cherki was already one of the brightest technical talents, a player built around the ability to operate in tight spaces, retain possession, and create something out of almost nothing.
He has got the talent, he's already shown it. That goal the other night was pretty special.
He showed a level far beyond his peers when he broke into the first team at just 16. With his natural talent, he exploded almost immediately, shining in the Coupe de France against Nantes. Cherki directly contributed to 2 goals and 2 assists, and also won a penalty.
55 secondes! Qui marque? Rayan Cherki, deuxième.
Highlights appeared constantly, moments that made people rewind, and he was quickly labelled the next big thing. But the problem is, elite football does not reward highlights, it rewards efficiency, and that is where Cherki began to be questioned. His career faced difficulties due to a clash in footballing philosophy, when coaches like Peter Bosz and Laurent Blanc required him to reduce his reliance on technique to avoid dangerous ball losses. The lack of consistency meant he was often on the bench and faced questions about his focus amid transfer rumours from giants like PSG and Real Madrid. Those things he does are very special, but they do not always lead to goals or real chances. But here's the twist. The real growth wasn't in his skills, it was in his decisions. The turning point came when Olympique Lyonnais fell into crisis, forcing Cherki to change in order to save his career by improving his physicality and becoming more active in tracking back defensively. Instead of a flashy, overcomplicated style, he gradually focused on efficiency with more decisive passes and quicker finishing, thereby establishing himself as a young leader capable of deciding games with his unique explosiveness. He became more dangerous because he started choosing the right moments to kill the game.
Rayan Cherki to Manchester City. Here we go. Deal in place for the French top talent to join Man City. The agreement done between clubs. The player is ready. The deal is done.
The best choice in my career because the Manchester City is the best for me.
The move to Manchester City in the summer of 2025 marked a bright new chapter in the career of Rayan Cherki. Here, he no longer had the freedom to play purely on instinct. Everything had rhythm, structure, and extremely high demands on timing. He was forced to reduce his touches, forced to eliminate unnecessary actions, and forced to turn every decision into real value. And that's where everything is starting to click. People are seeing a completely new Rayan Cherki, a player who doesn't just create highlights but finishes moves, a version of Kevin De Bruyne 2.0. You might wonder what Pep Guardiola has given him that made him so dangerous. Maybe it's not about the new things Cherki has learned at all. It was always there. He just didn't know when to use it.
He knows exactly what we want, what you have to do. And I have the feeling, the mindset that I want to transcend. I had the feeling I want to become a good player for us and good player for the Premier League. And always when we sign one player, that is what I'm looking for, his desire, his passion.
We want to win all the game because you are a big club, and when you are a big club, you want to win all.
Cherki plays with fewer touches, but every touch carries real danger. Less flashy, but he still preserves that elegance in every decision that makes entire defensive systems collapse. But in reality, there is no new Cherki here. Same guy, but finally, he knows how to kill the game at the right moment. This is where he stops being unpredictable and starts being inevitable.
And he's heading down this time and brilliantly put away by Cherki. Cherki now steps it up pace-wise, gets the tricks out for Foden! Here comes Cherki, going the long way round Romero, still stroking his way through.
Rayan Cherki is now an attacking creator for Manchester City, no longer just a prospect to be watched for highlights. 26 appearances, 3 goals and 10 assists. Cherki is a real part of Pep Guardiola's attacking system. He is a hybrid between a number 10 and a winger. He can operate between the lines, drift into the half space, or move freely to choose his own receiving zones. And it is exactly that flexibility that allows him to constantly appear in areas where the defence hasn't yet managed to settle. He plays like the final third is a puzzle, and he already knows the solution.
I want to push him. His impact in the final third and goals and assists in every game is quite impressive, and we cannot forget he's so young and have a right mentality to be better and better and better.
That line is no longer just a casual compliment, because what's different about Cherki now is very clear. He is not only expressive, he is effective. If before he could produce moments that made people admire him, now every touch of the ball is aimed at a concrete outcome. A goal, an assist, or a situation that directly breaks defensive structure. In a system that demands near-perfect precision like Manchester City, where every decision must be on rhythm and on time, Cherki is not just adapting, he is turning his creativity into real damage. And that is the version that is starting to make the Premier League worry.
I really like your body. I really want to get naughty. I think you're such a hottie.
Rayan Cherki is dangerous, not because of a single specific skill, but because of the way he controls the entire situation around him. When he receives the ball, he doesn't avoid pressure, but instead, he actively draws it towards himself, forcing defenders to step up and creating shifts in the defensive structure. And in that moment, with just one touch, he turned and faced the goal. No adjustment needed, no extra touch, turning a surrounded situation into an open attacking move. And in a fast environment like the Premier League, that one beat is everything to go from being locked down to creating a chance. When facing a direct duel, he doesn't dribble to show off, but to force the opponent into making a decision. And whichever choice they make leads to positional imbalance. The defensive line begins to shift, spaces start to appear, and that is when Cherki makes his decision. What truly sets him apart is the way he hides his intention. He makes defenders believe they have read the situation correctly before releasing a pass in a completely different direction. And when they realise it, the move is already gone and the chance has already been created. But all of that only becomes truly dangerous when combined with his current mindset. Every touch is aimed at the final outcome. No more beautiful build-up. That fades out. These are actions that directly lead to shots, assists, or completely breaking defensive systems. And that is why this version of Cherki is not just unpredictable, but genuinely destructive.
Rayan Cherki, who has reminded us all why we watch the game.
Close to the 80-yard box for the opponent. He's an exceptional player, made a fantastic goal. A blind guy, a blind woman can realize. It's necessary to be a journalist or manager to realize that was fantastic.
The problem for the Premier League is this. Cherki makes defenders react. And once you're reacting, you're already losing. Rayan Cherki doesn't give defenders the luxury of control. He forces them to step out, to make decisions, to move on his terms. And in that moment, they are already in a reactive state. One man is never enough to contain him, but when a second defender rushes in to help, space immediately opens up behind. For a team like Manchester City, that kind of space is almost synonymous with danger. Even the best organised pressing systems struggle because pressing requires absolute synchronisation, but Cherki only needs a single action, a touch to escape pressure or a line-breaking pass. One is enough to break the entire structure. One link is pulled out of position and the rest of the system begins to collapse in a domino effect.
Well, he's exceptional right now. We're going to think about, don't let Cherki getting the ball and outside the 18 years box. You don't allow a player with that talent, with that skill, being allowed to shoot.
What makes everything even harder to control is that he doesn't give the defence a fixed reference point. He doesn't stay still, and he doesn't hold a clear role to be assigned a marker. He constantly appears in spaces that no one is truly responsible for. And in modern football, losing positional clarity is the fastest way for a defensive system to be broken down. And when the game opens up, everything happens even faster. Just one pass beyond the first pressing line, Cherki can turn that situation into a chance within seconds. One dribble, one through ball, or one immediate shot. There's no time to reorganise, no time to fix mistakes. Only reaction, and reaction is always slower than him by a beat. When Cherki starts feeling the game, he no longer operates within the system in a simple way. He begins to read the opponent, test them, and play directly against them. And at that moment, the match is no longer 11 versus 11, but one player pulling the entire game into his own rhythm. But no matter how perfect things look, Rayan Cherki still faces the toughest test of the Premier League. Environment that does not allow you to try a second time. The tempo here is not only fast, but constant. One wrong decision does not just end the move. It can immediately trigger a counter-attack, and that is why output is always judged first. Nobody cares how beautiful your touch is if it does not lead to a goal or a clear chance. Not even that. Contact is unavoidable. Defenders will not wait for you to finish turning. They will impact you from the very first touch, disrupt your rhythm, break your feel for the ball, and force you to play faster than you want. And above all, the media pressure in the Premier League is something that can amplify everything. One good game can lift you to the top, but one bad game is enough to create doubt. But it is exactly at that point that Cherki's true nature is tested, and also the reason why he is so worth watching. But the risk is the point, because players who don't take risks don't break games. And after everything, speed, pressure, systems, this is the real point of view. Rayan Cherki is exactly the kind of player the Premier League needs. Not because he is an entertaining talent to watch, but because he brings what this league has always been obsessed with, difference in big games. He doesn't just play the game, he changes how the game looks. When Cherki has the ball, the structure of the game changes. Defenders no longer hold their positions, they start to hesitate. The midfield no longer controls the rhythm, they begin to be pulled out of shape. And from that moment, the game no longer unfolds according to its original plan. It shifts into a state where an individual can decide everything. And that is why this is no longer a compliment, but a requirement if you want to win at the highest level. If you want to win big games, you need someone who can break structure. Cherki breaks structure. And after everything you've just seen, the way Rayan Cherki reads the game, stretches the system, and then finishes it in one beat, the real question is no longer how good he is. Here's the real question. Who's ready to give him control? Because with a player like Cherki, the issue is not whether he can play well or not. It is whether you are willing to make him the centre of your system, whether you are ready to give him control of the tempo, the space, and the final moment of the match. And that is where everything becomes interesting, but also full of risk. Because in the right system, he's a star. In the perfect system, he's unstoppable. If you place him in a suitable structure with the movements around him optimised, Cherki doesn't just shine, he defines the way the team attacks. But if the environment is not precise enough, not trusting enough, he can be suffocated, pulled away from his most dangerous zones. And that is why this story still has no ending. The Premier League has a Cherki problem, and it's already happening. If you enjoy our video, don't forget to hit like to help this video reach to other football lovers, and hit the subscribe button to follow for more interesting videos about football stories. See you in the next video.